It's Wes, and today, very exciting day because there's a new, exciting, must-have, for beginners lens on the market. Arguably the best lens that this company has made thus far, depending on your niche. That is the new Brightin Star 85 1.8 for Sony full frame. Also on Nikon Z, I believe, possibly even Fuji. It is a tiny bit thicker than the Yongnuo, which we have tested, and we'll talk a lot about comparisons between the two. Don't have it on me right now, but they are quite comparable lenses. They're both real bangers, but which one is better, in my opinion? Let's find out. Starting with the build quality. This light appears to be very well constructed. We have a weather sealing gasket around the back here. This focus wheel feels amazing. Aperture dial, oh, feels fantastic. Function button, feels good. AF/MF switch, no, that feels cheap. You can't win them all, I guess. Lens hood, I would put that kind of middle of the pack. It's plastic, fairly rigid, not the most rigid. Locks on pretty well, not the most locking. Lens cap, I like that. I could use a little more grab in the center, but goes on very nice, doesn't catch strangely. Altogether, a very evolved, very nice fit and finish lens. It's just a little bit thicker than the Yongnuo and a little bit shorter. But if we compare it to, say, a small f1.4 lens like this Sire Aurora, it is still quite a bit smaller. I would say it weighs almost the same. I think the Aurora is using a little bit more plastic. And obviously, it is much smaller and lighter than this G Master, which is kind of a beast. This is the version 1. So for build quality, I have to give this a 9.5 out of 10. There are no obvious problems here. The only thing that I could improve for build quality here is this switch right here. I don't know the full extent of the weather sealing, and this lens hood is just kind of a little bit cheap, but lens hood isn't worth a lot of points in my rating system. Handling and usability. Again, smaller than 1.4, not the smallest 1.8. Weighs a lot more than the Mikey 85 1.8, but that's not a great lens in most ways. Biggest problem for me is that the aperture ring does not have much of a detent between auto and 16. I hear a sound there, like it thinks it's holding, but there's no feel, no difference there. It's just declicked all the way through. So I occasionally bump that. I don't like that very much. Focus ring, again, phenomenal. Feels like $1,000,000. Love having AF/MF and the custom function button on here. That's great. We have the USB-C port for easy firmware updates if and when those come. I see no immediate reason for a firmware update because I have had no random issues with this lens. It has been rock solid. And a lot of third-party lenses, they come out of the gate just a tiny bit buggy. This one, no bugs at all for me so far on A9 and A7 IV. It is focused by wire, of course, as pretty much all E-mount lenses are. Just a light focus breathing, not too bad, perfectly fine for video. Tends to be quite smooth for that. So for handling and usability, I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. Image quality. Here is where we have a bit of a compromise. Spoiler, this lens is not expensive. And so image quality wise, this has a little bit more chromatic aberration and is a tiny bit softer than the Yongnuo Mark II 85 1.8. You can see we have CA in those whiskers, but it cleans up very quickly. As soon as you stop down to 2.8, it's very hard to find the chromatic aberration anymore. It's fairly consistent across the frame. Sharpness drops off a bit around the edges, but not too bad. It is quite contrasty, and honestly, I found it surprisingly resistant to washing out. Like if I stuck it right in front of a light, boosted my ISO, it has a nice contrasty pop to it, which is surprising for a lens of this class. Flares are pretty well controlled, contrast pretty well controlled. I'm gonna give that an 8 out of 10. Once you stop this down just a tiny bit, it is indistinguishable for professional work and even wide open, as long as you're not looking for like clinical sharpness, perfectly good. Image character. Here's where we flip the table, so to speak. Flip the narrative. We're flipping something. I found the Yongnuo to be just a little bit clinical, a little bit dry, and I have found the Brightin Star to be just a bit more enjoyable. We got a bit more swirl going on here. The bokeh is very clean, very smooth, except it cat's eyes very close to the middle, and it's not always even a cat's eye. There's a lot of D shapes going on. You kind of want your bokeh to go from circular straight into cat's eye, because then you get a better focus on the center and it's not as busy or nervous in the details in the background of the bokeh. For the most part though, this does not get nervous. It stays very smooth, and I am quite pleased with that. And again, as I said before, there seems to be a little bit of pop going on in this lens. Flares remain fairly natural, so I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 for image character as well. Very good, but not excellent. It's not a character lens per se, which the Makey 85 1.8 is. That's pretty much all it has, is just oodles of character. Autofocus, and here is where I was the most surprised. And honestly, the Yongnuo surprised me in that way as well. The Makey was terrible for autofocus. This one, when it comes to like face detect, eye detect, tracking, video, photo, all that stuff, just 100% A1. The only issue is, okay, I don't want to say slow. The bar keeps moving. Sony has some new lenses like the 50 to 150 that have these just insane, intense autofocus systems that are utterly instantaneous. This is faster than the original 85G Master, easily. And I would say it's just a teeny tiny bit slower than the Yongnuo 85. 10 years ago, maybe 15, this would have been considered fast autofocus. But it's not anymore. So anyway, all that accounted for, I have to say this is an 8.5 out of 10 for autofocus. All those points are lost not for reliability or consistency, but just for the speed. Value. Here is where this is just a banger. This is coming in at $300 US, not accounting for tariff nonsense. The Yongnuo, $345, which was a phenomenal price at that time. There is this Sire Aurora that is $600, so it's twice the price. Is it twice the lens? That's tough. Just 1.8 to 1.4. You always pay a big premium for that jump though. Makey has the 85 1.8 for $200, but that lens is more cheaply made and it's terrible autofocus, weird colors, not as sharp, tons of chromatic. Anyway, I loved it for what it did, but doesn't really compete directly. Here's the Viltrox 85 1.8 Mark II, $400. Very good lens, much larger than this. Tokina, even bigger and heavier, $500, which is probably a repackaged Viltrox. I don't know why anyone would buy that. There's a Sony 85 1.8 for $600, twice the price. There's no reason to buy the Sony anymore. The Sony is sharper wide open. I find that it's excessively clinical. It has such a dry character to it. I don't enjoy it myself. So for price, for value, 9.75 out of 10. The Makey is cheaper, but I wouldn't call it a buy. So overall, that gives us a total score of 87.9%. Oh boy. All the other Brightin Star lenses that I have tested, they have been not bad lenses, but they had compromises. Because Brightin Star is always attacking an aggressive price point. This one, however, those compromises were not enough to drag it very far down the chart. It is number 5 in my chart right now amongst some real bangers of lenses. Good job, Brightin Star. You got to the top of the list. Has everything that we want, nothing that you don't need. And this is the new, wait, that's a C-Ray lens hood. This is the new lens to buy if you're just starting out as a photographer on E-mount or Z-mount for a portrait lens. $300 US if you're buying a brand new lens. This one gets the job done. Focuses accurately, takes great photos, nice and smooth. If you want to pick one up, there's going to be a link down in the description below to help support this channel and feed my fat cats. Until next time, let's go take some photos.